Hello and welcome back to the Bright Light Show. I'm your host, Diane Sylvester, and this is episode 7. Today's episode has me extremely excited because, as you can see, my co-host back here, this cute little jester guy. Um, there is a This show is dedicated to helping you to wake up to your own divine potential, to your intuition, to your healing ability, and to the big question that the caterpillar asks in Alice in Wonderland: who are you? So today's guest, I'm a big fangirl of. I'm not only is this lady someone that is a member of the academy. She's taught for UCLA, USC continually and does now. She's been a mime working with Marcel Marceau, a comedian, opening for Jay Leno, Steve Martin, Robin Williams. She has hit so many high notes that we could spend the entire show discussing her Hollywood self. The self that I'm really interested in today is how I met Toni. I met Toni through Hypnosis World, American Board of Hypnotherapy. There she was teaching a mask workshop. She's had a radio show on KRLA as the romantic intuitive. She's just done so much in both 3D world, also in 5D world. So it is my great pleasure to not give too long an introduction, and let's let Toni say it in her own words. Miss Toni Attell, welcome to the Bright Light Show. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Diane. I love that. So you had a question for me that you were going to ask earlier. So how do you do it?
Well, yes. Okay. So first of all, my show, I always ask this question first and foremost. When you were a little thing and coming into the world and began to notice that the intuitive world was real for you. Could you speak to that? Did you like wake up really early? Did you shut it down? What's your journey with intuition?
Well, first of all, my disclaimer is we all have that intuitive spirit within us. It's been more or less subdued in men, unfortunately, and women. We've been able to do it a little bit easier than the men, but the men are just as powerful. I
Exactly.
woke up to it very, very young. And I found to my great horror that without a muzzle or without boundaries, I could get myself in trouble. And I think, you say blah, blah, blah because you've had a drink or you're feeling relaxed sitting next to someone and you see this hideous look come on their face, which is like, I never asked you. And, I have many funny stories about that. And one of the things that I think to wake people up is to believe in yourself. You are bigger than anything that can happen to you. Um, if something is unexplainable, try not to explain it. Go with it. Relax. Enjoy it. But for me, my journey has been laughter. I could do my best work by going in and making audiences or individuals or my students laugh. And to me, that was a powerful tool. And it was the reason I was born. I knew that from an early age that that's what I was to do. And, I'm always amazed at people saying I had this a near death experience. And then one day I realized, oh, dang, I'm going to have to say that. I'm going to have to say I had this near death experience. Dang it. Um, that more or less woke me up to what I was supposed to do. And without going into any major detail, I was in an operating room in Mexico, and everybody was laughing around me. And I had this vision that they were going to cut up my body in little pieces and put it into little green garbage bags. And I thought, oh no, I don't want that. And I started laughing hysterically. And so they started laughing hysterically. And the doctors asked me when I woke up, why were you laughing so much? And I said, because I got my answer. My answer was laughter.
Wow.
Laughter is the thing that heals us more than anything. to be able to laugh at that bad experience that happened and learn from it to go on to the next experience. Because
Right.
everybody has bad stuff happen to them. Everybody. So you
Mhm.
learn, you go to your next thing, good or bad. You learn. I've bombed so many times I had to laugh. I've had things said to me as an actress. I had to laugh in front of my face. Like, oh, she's not there. Oh, when did I become invisible for you to say, you know, I'm either too fat, too thin, not ethnic enough, too ethnic, not, you're never enough. And I think that once people learn you're never enough, and that's okay, let the light out and show me where my next adventure is going to be.
I think
Make it
that's a very interesting point, Toni, because we we were supposed to record an hour and a half ago. We just started talking, and I was like, finally, it's like, okay, I gotta record now. So we started recording this show, and we've had such great talks. I wish we could have recorded all of it because you're such an insightful, wise person. In my estimation, you embody more perfectly than any human I've ever encountered the sacred clown. And I had a very dear friend because I've been asking my friends, hey, how do I improve my show? And this very dear friend who I work with as a healer said, stop making fun of yourself. Stop calling it woo. What you do, Diane, is so dignified. And I'm like, yes, and so is laughter. And so is the job. I mean, the fool was always the one that could tell the king the truth. And if you look at someone like Carlin or Williams or Leno or Martin or any of the greats comedians, they're telling the truth in such a way that we can own it. Like I can remember the ripple that went through my consciousness, not that I love her politics anymore, when Roseanne Barr called herself a domestic goddess. That went like a ping pong through my head. The whole idea coming from Judeo-Christian that goddess is a thing. What? Huh? And so that's what you as a mime to be able, even though you don't do your mime work these days, your history back in the day was and by the way, all my friends love Harold and Maude, so she lived with Cat Stevens. But when you are doing this work,
Wait a minute. Maud lived with Cat Stevens?
didn't you?
I lived with Cat Stevens.
You live.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
thought you were
You.
saying Maud lived
No,
with Cat
I
Stevens.
was talking about more of my fangirl on Toni Attell. It's like, oh, and here's another thing. Oh my God, you're not gonna believe
Oh
this.
my God, you won't believe, darling. Wait, my other phone's ringing. Oh, you don't have two phones. I'm so sorry.
I'm so verklempt. I got a phone right in here. Okay. Anyway, so
My girlfriend showed me something very funny. I'm sorry, it's very rude, but I'm going to show you. She went, "Oh, look what I found." She gave me the finger. It was,
by the way,
I
if
was
you're
like,
just
"What did
tuning
you
in, it's
find?"
a show about spirituality. In case you missed that, but that's the whole thing. That's the thing I don't think people get about me necessarily because I'm so deep with all the really deep, heavy metaphysical stuff. But the clown, the understanding, I mean, this guy is mine, okay? That through laughter, the healing takes place. It's like an orgasm or explosion of laughter, and the energy clears in the body. I mean, there's nothing more precious than to be able to do an emotional release like a laugh. I mean, tears do it too, but the laugh is like, can you talk about that? Maybe, I mean, there's so many things you could talk about, and I asked you, it's like, Toni, oh, by the way, Toni also worked for Ringling Brothers. Um, is there
I'm
anything?
very proud of that because I did a
I am
lot of work
impressed.
with animals. I mean, I love animals.
I
And
know
when I
there's all
started
these
off,
animals in the room behind her, by the way. You could play Where's Waldo with
I
all the.
have a 22-year-old dachshund behind me. I mean, to me, I worked with the elephants and the giraffes and the cats. I think I sent you a picture of the cats, me lying with the cats. And the thing to address the question that you've asked me, which I think I've almost forgotten about laughter, is this. When I was a young girl, I could either allow the kids to laugh at me or I could take control to have them laugh with me. And
Mm.
I think that one of the problems that's happening in our world of youth, because I work with a lot of young people at UCLA, is that they've taken a lot of these arts like improv out of the school. And when I know there's acting and I know there's music, but those are conventional things of people that are competing against each other. But if you take the people who think outside of the box, which is people like you and me, and 99% of the world, and give them improv, where they get to say the first thing that comes in your mind, and then you begin to trust your mind and you begin to trust your mouth and you begin to trust the source where all of this comes from, would take all those kids that think out of the box and put them in their own box where they feel more comfortable in this world of revolutions, which we're just having such revolutions because people don't like themselves.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Like the
just because of
concept of
the way that
binge.
it's gone with the social media and everything else, it's so focused on what you aren't instead of what you are. And then people's images that they're looking at aren't even real anyway. So they're comparing themselves to something. And you're right. People are so lost and so out of love with the self. I mean, I've fought hard to like myself. It's been a journey, especially as an empath. You just like you don't know sometimes if it's you that's mad or someone else. It's like it's hard. Boundaries are really hard as an
Boundaries
intuitive.
are hard. I remember as an actress, I would walk in, and before I'd even open my mouth to do the role, I knew they didn't like me. And that
Mhm.
was a terrible thing
Yeah.
because instead of thinking of my role, I'd be thinking of, well, why don't you like me?
Right.
And then you hear things: you're not tall enough, you're not short enough, you're not fat enough, you're not thin enough, you're not ethnic enough, you're never enough. So laugh at it. Hi, I'm a perfect human being that's just not enough for a world that doesn't deal in anything but unreality. Things
Mm.
that women aren't born with thin, long legs and big breasts. Women are not born that way. Women are born as women. Men are born as men. It's like, it just it's crazy when you think of it. And I think that Los Angeles can really, as you know, cut you down to where you feel like you're a paper cutout that's like, I'm sorry, I'm here, I didn't mean it, leave me alone.
Well, I was afforded with being on the casting side as well as on the acting side briefly, and then I had to move on to childcare versus that. But I got my taste, and just listening to the type of things and the way that people are destroyed by the client.
Destroyed.
It's just like you're a piece of meat. And and then with the close-ups and everything, with the extra good TVs, I can't remember what it's called now, the high definition, so but the people watching at home, are sitting there picking a scab, they just to be themselves, but they want other people to be AI or perfect. And then, look, she got older. Ha ha. But I don't know that this is where I digress. We're off on a
You do
Hollywood chat. Let's
digress.
get back to consciousness for a second. Okay, because you are a master of that realm as well. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about you being, I've also done radio psychic stuff, and it's not easy, but you were on KRLA for talk radio for the romantic intuitive. You did another radio show, I believe, on another radio station. You've basically, as an actor or as a psychic, in my opinion, it's like being a glorified telephone. My humble assessment. You're basically bringing through an energy. You do mask ceremonies. That's bringing through an energy. You did the mime. That's like expressing yourself without words. I mean, that's amazing, so talk to
Oh
me
no, I
about.
talked. Trust me, Diane, I talked. If there's a rule, I believe you should break it.
I'm
Please.
with you, man. I'm with you. But what I'm saying is generally mime isn't about talking. So great. You're the talking mime. I'm the cursing psychic. We can be whatever we want. We could be the farting dog for all I care. But the bottom line is talk to me, girlfriend. tell me what you have for the people watching this show. We've got another 12 minutes to yak. What do you want to tell people with your time? Because you're such an icon, from like I said, from being a clown at Ringling Brothers to being on the Academy and working with the Emmys. It's like, dude, you're cool. You're really interesting biography. So from your exalted status of looking in the rearview mirror going, God, man, okay, that's going to be a story when I get back to the other side. What do you
I
have to share with the people listening?
I think that one of the things, and I think that's a really good question, Diane. I think that one of the things that happened to me as a young woman is I said, I give myself permission to explore everything I want to do and not let all the other girls my age who were friends with me try and influence me any other way. In fact, I talked to an old girlfriend. I'm still in contact with a lot of my old girlfriends from high school. And she told me, you were in the YMCA with me and you were a terrible volleyball player. And I thought, oh, I thought I was really good. And then I heard some other friends go, no, Toni, you were really a bad volleyball player, but we just loved you. You made it fun. But you always had your own agenda. You never fell into our agenda. You just did your own agenda. And I think that's the one thing I can say to everybody. Do your own agenda. If it feels good and it looks good and you feel happy doing it, do it. Live your life. This isn't a dress rehearsal. This is it. And
So
I wanted to
talk to
join
me
the
as a psychic.
circus.
Talk to me as a psychic. Let's model your own agenda, because you and I, we have no problem tuning on to this bandwidth, whatever, 970 a.m., whatever it is. That's the psychic frequency. And this is the meditation frequency. And this is the hypnosis frequency. They're different bandwidths. So what would you say to someone just starting down the road? How can you, somebody's a very shy empath, and they're like, what do you mean be myself? The world is so harsh. It's like, Toni, what can you give people, these light workers that want to wake up? What can you give them to become more themselves from your life experience, from anything that they could maybe try as a practice or anything?
If you are standing in front of someone who doesn't get you, walk away, because they become what I call the psychic vampires. And
Mhm.
they drain all your energy from you. They take everything from you. And you'll know them because you'll be exhausted after you talk to them. You won't feel in like Diane and I just got through talking for an hour and a half. And we're feeling great. We feel like we've had some drinks that, life is good, right?
Yeah.
Because we're not drawing the energy from each other. We believe in what each other does and we validate it. If the person doesn't validate you, they don't deserve you. So walk
Amen.
away and find the people that do validate you, but create your boundaries. If they step over your boundary in any way that scare you or make you feel that there's something dark, don't get fascinated with that. Know in your mind of minds that's not good. They're stepping over my boundary. That's going to take my energy away from me. And one of the things I would say to you is when you take a shower in the morning, and I'm sure you've all heard this, so I didn't think of this, take that water and surround yourself and make that hot, steamy water white light and make it go all around your body like a beautiful eggshell. And then as you leave the house, if you run into someone right away and you go, uh-oh, not feeling weird, turn that white light into reflective sunglass. And guess what? Whatever they're sending you bounces off the sunglass and hits them back in the face. And I'm not saying that to be negative. I'm just saying that's
Oh
how
no,
you.
and I have heard that you can you can also say, if you want to be like super good new age girl, you can say, and it bounces off of me and bounces into the heart of the universe to be recycled as love.
Oh, that's good.
Or it bounces back and gets your ass. You choose.
I say don't get their ass because what does that prove? It proves nothing.
Exactly. Well, no, but
It
that
proves
but
nothing.
that's the whole thing. It's like it's the tit for tat of duality that as Carolyn Mace talks about that, like you rise up in the building. If you're down at the ground floor, all you see is the other buildings. But as you get higher and higher, your perspective gets better. And when you get to the place where you know that even the naughty, horrible, awful people that we don't like are still part of the one.
Well, again, psychics, if you go to Sedona, it's psychic world.
Yeah.
And psychics with psychics get very dark.
Oh my
You
God.
know more than me,
In
that
Ojai was like the
yes,
OK Corral for me. So I
right.
mean, it's like, hello, there's just as much dark in Ojai as there is light. Big time.
Absolutely.
Big time.
So that's why I say don't let other people influence you. Walk to your own music, walk to your own moonlight, dance your way into your world. If they follow you, great. If they don't, great. I'm engaged to a man who's never seen me perform ever, and doesn't understand my world at all, and that's fine. Because now he doesn't get in my way. He doesn't get me hysterical. He doesn't get me freaked out of, oh my God, this could be happening to us. And the students that I work with, I love because I think they're willing to accept me now as a funny, very funny mother image. I'm
Yes,
not sure I
yes, yes.
like.
Well, there's the archetype, and you deal with archetypes. Now, I'm going to have to start winding the show to a close, but I definitely would be grateful to bring you back. We're going to be running classes through Soul Centered. Toni has graciously agreed at some point to teach something with us. We haven't decided what, but I'll take anything you got, Toni, because you're just exquisite. She taught back in the day in the geodesic dome, a mask ceremony and something on the
I
type of
think I did
you crave.
body readings,
Yes.
DNA body readings, what your past lives were and how they are affecting your life reoccurring patterns now.
Yeah, and maybe you'll do those kind of readings through the site, through our
Sure.
psychic line, all that. It's coming. But what I want to just thank you for, Toni, and there'll be her bio and links to her stuff. Maybe there's a class or something that she's teaching somewhere else you might want to look at. But I just want to thank you, Toni, for sharing your gorgeous light with us and your wonderful, sweet self. We'll probably use one of her mime pictures as Toad as the cover for this particular show, but the pictures of her are just exquisite as a mime. And I know some of you are scared of clowns, and it's just like that's the same thing like they did to women, making them into witches. It's like clowns are here, they're whatever. That's a whole
Wait,
other.
wait, wait, wait. Before you end that show, I need to explain. Actually, you have every right to be afraid of a clown. I was a
Really?
mime. Oh yeah, I was a mime, but I worked in the circus and the doll family came in. They were the little small people. They were brother and sister that did the wonderful movie. I can't think of it, but it'll come to me in a minute. And they told us that in Germany, all the circuses, all those clowns you see on the merry-go-round were only made in Germany. And the clown makeup, the exaggeration of the clown in the mouth is to make you afraid, because what happens when you survive fear is laughter. And so you have every right to be afraid of a clown. I give you all full permission. I mean, I love the clowns. I worked with the clowns. I was never a clown. I was always a very refined, delicate mime. But
Beautiful,
clowns are
exquisite. Yeah.
based on fear. And in fact, Fellini's movie Satyricon deals with Rome and the days that the circuses began. And that's a whole nother program that
Oh,
you
wow.
get
Oh my
into.
God, Toni, whenever your bio comes out, I'm watching it. Well, in honor to the people that watch this show, it's time to bring it to a close. Thank you for watching the Bright Light Show. Please, if you can, go to soulcentered.com, SOULCENTERED.com, and support my journey in 3D crystals, incense, books, metaphysical stuff, classes, psychics, healers, you name it. Come on in. And remember, everybody's intuitive and everybody can do healing. Thank you to Ms. Toni Attell. Her bio and all the ways to reach her will be in the show notes. Thank you, my friend.
You're welcome.
Until we meet again, beautiful girl.